and welcome to the daily news show at ohmTown. My name is Mayor Watt. I'm the mayor of that website right there, which is actually ohmTown.com. I travel through Twitch pretty regularly, and I go by Mayor Watt there, but I don't hype ohmTown on Twitch when I'm hanging out in people's channels. So if you see me, say hello and come on by ohmTown every day of the week, 6 p.m. Eastern, for about an hour. Today I might actually run really long. I got a bunch of news that I've been seeing throughout the day, and I figured, maybe I can run a little late. But it's typically an hour-long show. And then I'm starting to post them over to YouTube. Got about 20 days or so posted over there. Again, not really hyping anything. I'm on Twitter, but I'm just posting when I'm going to launch a show. So every day right before the show, I post that I'm going to go onto Twitch and start talking about the news. More and more is going on. I'm about to throw a bunch of episodes onto the podcast. And we're going to keep on going with this rhythm every day, 6 p.m. Unless something really bizarre happens, I'll still be doing this every day. So I hope to see you here. Again, twitch.tv/ohmTown, OHMTOWN. You can always go to the website, of course, ohmTown.com, and click on the link, and it'll take you over there. But let's get into this. And let me turn this down a little bit. Locally, my music's really loud, but I don't think that you guys see it or hear it. It's not announcing anymore, thankfully. I've banned the bot that was bad, even though I had already disconnected it. But anyway, the way that this works, I'm going to continue to do this quick little intro. The previous stuff that I was talking about wasn't really the intro, but here's the intro. ohmTown is a news aggregation site. Grabs hundreds of article headlines and a little snippet and throws them into 6 categories: create, news, education, entertainment, social, and technology. And within that, I am trying to launch 50 one-hour shows each week. And right now I'm looking for hosts and co-hosts. So if you're interested, get in touch with me. Let's see what we can work out. I'd love to have somebody else right up there, or vice versa if you prefer. You don't like the top bunk. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, let's get on with it. Every time you go to the ohmTown.com, if you've never been there, then when you actually get there, you get a fresh listing of articles that have been aggregated by the site. And it goes out and finds the information and sorts it based on what I have built over the years. Yes, years. I've opened it up to the public starting at the beginning of 2022. And I hope to continue to grow that site. I hope you get more out of it. Go over there, look at all of the articles. There's discussion boards, but I don't know if anybody is going to be discussing anything. It's really, people get a lot of traffic, but they're not posting. So it is what it is. And I don't create fake posts. So I don't go in there and create, puppets, right? I don't create sock puppet accounts that post based on artificial intelligence or machine learning. It is what it is. And if people don't want to post, they don't post. I know that it's not really good for engagement, but other sites have done it in the past. And I don't really agree with it. Fake it till you make it. Yeah, I understand what that is in concept. But I'd rather let it persist on its own. And if it happens, it happens. If not, I'm here on Twitch to talk in real time. That's why I put this together on Twitch. So every time you click on that link, it's going to refresh and you'll get more articles. I think that you'll always find something interesting in there. I find interesting things in it all the time. I grab about 20 of them and then I talk about them here on Twitch. The first article is in the Wanted channel, and that's what I'm going to be referring to them as. Each of these are actually intended to be shows at some point, and they have a little description of what their focus would be. So in this article, it is the Peloton of boxing is fun, challenging, and better in real life than in VR. The melding of fitness and video games has never been more natural than in the expanding realm of virtual reality. So I'm going to click this link, take us over to Ars Technica, where Corey Gaskin writes this article. You'll notice that I always give credit. I want you to go over to Ars Technica. There isn't a big snippet or a complete copy. I don't grab the graphics. My intent is really to kind of tease you into going over to the website and then coming back and talking to me either on the website at ohmTown or live on Twitch. I prefer it actually live on Twitch, ironically, but long-term conversation really needs to take place on a website somewhere. But Corey here says, I've been a fan of fitness games since the days of boxing with nunchucks in Wii Sports. Yeah, well, I'm a little older than you, and fitness games go way back. So this says Lightboxer is one of the newest VR games. I'm going to tell you about another game. It's still in early access as far as I know. It's on Steam and it's called Sucker Punch. I was in a beta of it. I sold my kit and I notified them that I sold my kit, but I'm going to hype up their game. It's called Sucker Punch and it's fun. I like it. Basically boxes come at you. They have different capabilities, speeds. You have to punch them in the right way. They shift around sometimes. You get different power-ups. It's a lot of fun. And it's a heck of a workout. If you are sedentary, or if you ramp up the difficulty, it becomes a workout no matter what. Obviously, you're not getting punched in the face, but there's time, I suppose. You'll have to figure it out. Maybe somebody can be in the room with you and can just smack you every once in a while to keep it real. So virtual classes, virtual equipment, real sweat. That's what they say. Founded in 2017, Lightboxer is a relatively new fitness company that launched its first product in 2020. Sounds good. I do like this. Lightboxer 1700 physical platform packs a wallop to the pocket, especially because you have to provide your own tablet for the app. That's funny. But I dig that. I like the idea of something that you can actually smack and it tells you, where to punch. Maybe even how hard. But its carbon footprint is massive. Look at that thing. And since I have a podcast tied to this thing too, it looks like it's about 5 feet by 3 feet and then another 5+ feet vertical. Maybe taller than that. I'm not quite sure. But it's a platform and you punch a little, I don't know, it looks like a kind of a star, kind of Metatron's star kind of a thing. Metatron's cube, I think it's called. Anyway, this whole thing looks like it's coming in at thousands of dollars, depending on how far into it you go. But a VR headset is $1,000 as well, if you want a quality one. Although there are Meta VR headsets that are cheaper. Reasonably priced. Lower cost? I'm confused. Okay. Somebody tell me what I should be saying. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to be tracked constantly, so I'm not really into Meta. So let's go on before I get onto a divergent soapbox there. This next article is over in the Warcrafters channel. The best UPS battery backup for PC gaming in 2022. So this is an article that I clicked on because I am a big fan of data security technology. And you really do need a battery backup, line conditioner, UPS. You need to be able to protect your equipment from surges, brownouts, power outages so that it can gracefully shut down instead of just turning off, and all kinds of things happen. From data corruption entirely to computers just getting fried because of a surge. And UPSs do a great job at mitigating most of it. And they check often. They check themselves often enough. I've had pretty much every brand of UPS. That's a major brand of UPS on the market at some point, from enterprise level to personal ones for just a TV. But nowadays they come like this, and they have software. You can interact with them so that you can see what the quality of your battery backup is, and if the system is in need of either complete replacement, which seems to be the older ones, or if you spend enough, then you can swap out the battery alone. Sometimes you just have to put them in for recycling, which is a real bummer because they can be pretty expensive. But go over to PC Gamer. It's written by Dave James, and find out more about UPS battery backups and save yourself some heartache. It will eventually come in handy to have a backup battery there for you. The next article is over in Bead Baby. I figured that I would start introducing more of the artisan, crafter, maker stories. And this one here is Ribbon Brooch Jewelry and Accessories by Natalie Brooches. So some people pronounce it brooch. Some people pronounce it brooch. It's kind of a hodgepodge of links in the article itself, but I'm going to click visit the source. It'll take you over to Beading Gem. The Beading Gem herself is Pearl Blay, and wrote this article, apparently talking with Natalia. It goes by Natalie Brooches. That's the website, or the name of the store, and goes into some pictures and discussion about the brooches. You might like it. I like highlighting makers, and some of these can be pretty elaborate. Some of them are a little more sedate. All of them are more ribbon-like. And just so you know, again, just to state this one more time, I don't really read the articles prior to me showing them here on ohmTown. I like looking at the headline. I read the little snippet, but I don't go in depth because I want my reaction and your reaction to be realized at the same time, I suppose. You know, I'm a half second ahead of you. Pardon me. And yeah, I want to know what you think here in chat. So let me know what you think of this. Would you buy these brooches? Would you buy them as a gift for somebody? Go and check it out, beadinggem.com. Of course, you can click the link, and the descriptions will be on the YouTube channel with all of the links, as well as the podcast, as well as on ohmTown.com. Unfortunately, until further notice, I only have 14 days worth of recording here at Twitch. So every 14 days, my work disappears, and it moves over to the podcast, to ohmTown.com, and to YouTube. This next article is, it's on fire. Yes, I said it. So if you haven't been watching the news, you might find this interesting, that 1,000 Porsches are burning aboard an abandoned cargo ship. A massive abandoned cargo ship is burning in the Atlantic with 3,965 Volkswagen Group vehicles on board. About a quarter of them are Porsche. Estimates 1,100 of the vehicles on board the Felicity Ace, a cargo ship about the size of 3 football fields. And I'm not sure why they highlighted Porsche and 1,100 of them when there's 4,000 vehicles on board, and it could be Audi, Bentley, Bugatti, Lamborghini, and VW. Wow. So click the link, and there it is. So there are people that are trying to put that fire out, but it's largely abandoned. It's basically a lost cause. So they're trying to put it out still in some way, mitigate the damage, maybe keep it from sinking. But from what I understand, it's considered a lost cause. All 22 crew members were successfully evacuated and did not need medical attention. Well, those vehicles do. Good luck. There might be a fire sale at your local dealership. At least those cars aren't going to be pre-purchased before they get there. It's kind of foreshadowing of the next, not the next article, but an article that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. The next article is in The Word in Tech. The Alien TV show will take place before Ripley. FX's upcoming TV series based on the Alien films will be set on Earth 70 odd years from now, which is before Sigourney Weaver's Ellen Ripley's character in the franchise timeline. Let me just back up one second. I didn't give credit for this Verge article. The 1,000 Porsches are burning aboard this abandoned cargo ship was written by Thomas Ricker over at The Verge. Just wanted to let you all know that. I don't like forgetting to do that, but sometimes I do. So now back to this Alien TV show. It might have snuck up on you. I think that it's great as long as it doesn't turn into kind of like a CW show. I hope that this is like gritty and you know, the dead of space kind of a thing. And there's a lot of world building, character building. I'm going to click this link and take you over to The Verge, where John Porter writes this article. Fargo showrunner Noah Hawley is behind the upcoming series. So this will be really exciting, I think. Hopefully it will have legs. Prometheus was kind of a weird, movie. Let me see if let me pull this up here real quick. So yeah, the whole idea about Prometheus, it was tremendous world building and extending what it really was, what Alien was. But there were some logic problems with Prometheus, so I hope that they don't repeat it. Okay, so if something is rolling towards you, go sideways. Just want to let you know. And that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to leave this alone. I want you to go over to The Verge and go and read about the Alien TV show that's upcoming. This next article is over in Smack Talk. The Apple AR headset may require monthly software subscription, claims researchers. Well, based on how current popular AR headsets are priced, TrendForce analysts predict that the forthcoming Apple AR device will come with a monthly subscription. Apple's first AR headset has consistently been predicted to cost, and this is consistently, okay, between $1,000 and $3,000. For the first time, though, TrendForce analysts are now speculating that it'll require an additional monthly subscription. That's always a possibility, I suppose. But there better be some heckin' good services value added to that. So William Gallagher over at Apple Insider wrote the article, and they have this looks like Apple Pro headphones kind of rendered headset, VR headset, AR headset. The implication is that it's AR only, but if you've got a big sheet of glass in front of you, it better be both. Well, anyway, I would be surprised if an Apple headset did not come in at around, I'm going to say, $1,600. That's my guess. It'll be an AR VR headset coming in at around $1,600. For one of my degrees, I did a strategic analysis of Apple and predicted what it was doing, predicted what Microsoft was going to end up doing. And I think I got a good bead on Apple and its business processes. Obviously, I'm not an insider. I'm not deep in its supply chain, et cetera, et cetera. I'm on the outside looking in. But this thing is going to need something else, not fully operate on its own. I believe it'll be wireless, but it'll interact with another device. So it's not a standalone device, in my estimation. That said, any subscription is going to be probably related to services, movies, and things like that. You buy the movies anyway, but there may be something added to it that gives it more capability. And that'll be what that subscription is for. Because we're paying for fitness already. If you do Apple Plus stuff, Apple News, pardon me. There's various other services that we already tack on, so it might get tacked on to that. But for the most part, I think the big leap is going to be the actual cost of the device, of course. So William Gallagher wrote this over at Apple Insider. Go and check it out. The link to that is now in chat. This next article is over in Warcrafters, which is a channel about basically first-person shooters, real-time sims, RPG games, war games. Should you buy or build a gaming PC? And I don't think that it's an either-or choice. I think that everybody should build their own computer at least once, get to know the parts inside and out, put it together, and know exactly what it is that you're paying for when you pay somebody else to build a computer. I'm going to click this link here, but there was the author of the article writes, there was a time when the choice over whether you should build your rig from scratch or simply buy the best, quote unquote, best gaming PC as a pre-built option was purely about personal preference. It used to be a choice about whether you wanted to pick all of the components yourself, build your rig for fun, and maybe save a little cash in the process. Click the link, take you over to Dave James, who wrote the article on PC Gamer. And I think that really, I want you to go over and read this article. Obviously, that's how it always works. And you'll find out that at the end of the day, it's all about opportunity cost. Do you believe that your time is worth having somebody else build the item and you pay for them to be more efficient, possibly, be more capable, possibly, be able to anticipate issues, their building systems day in, day out, make it effective, because while you are spending the hour or 2 or 3, depending on the complexity of your system, putting a system together, or if you have them do it and it costs you an extra $150 for them to put it together, you may be making more money or more networking connections, i.e. social networking, not computer connections. You are doing something else. So it's really about opportunity cost. When you buy them, these parts, you're buying them retail. If you go to a place like iBuyPower.com, they're buying them wholesale. They have connections. They get what you think you need. You get to select the parts still, but they put it together. Shipping is expensive. It's a massive box that shows up depending on what you're going to get. But you get what you want, and a professional puts it together. That said, I really do believe everybody should build their own computer at least one time. You're going to make a bunch of mistakes. You can tear it down and put it back together. Oh, they even mentioned iBuyPower in this article. Interesting. And they talk about the Ready systems, RDY systems. That's where I buy my computers from, iBuyPower. I don't have a connection to them. I'm not getting a kickback. There's no marketing relationship. iBuyPower has just served me well over the years. And I think I've got 4 systems here sitting next to me. But it's what I do for a living, so computers. Again, go over to PC Gamer and read this article. Should you buy or build a gaming PC? This next article is over on the Mobile channel. And how do we make, pardon me, one second. How do we make the poor run an obstacle course to get help? It doesn't have to be this hard. So as you might have learned from previous episodes, I merged 3 primary things together: business, technology, and society. And one of these things is opportunity within the societal processes of living. Here in this article, it says guest essay. It's over at the New York Times. It's titled, "This is the difference between a family surviving and a family singing." And it will undoubtedly go into all of the things that somebody has to do. This is an article written by Bryce Covert, a journalist who focuses on the economy with an emphasis on the policies that affect workers and families. So it says, thanks to legislation passed by Democrats earlier this year, an expanded child tax credit automatically sent out $300 each month through the rest of the year for every child under 6, and $250 for older ones to people who regularly file taxes. I don't think everybody got that, but anyway, don't hold me to that because I don't recall that going to everybody, but anyway. So I think that this is a drop in the bucket, right? This is a small amount to offset, the amount of expenses. And there's a lot of discussion about this, because people will say, well, if you can't afford to have kids, don't have kids. Well, it's not that easy. You know, there's a lot of unintended children, the oops children that exist, you know, and nobody, it just doesn't matter. I mean, a kid is a kid. So if there is struggling people out there, then, you know, we're part of a society. Maybe we can afford to help them a little bit, right? Don't just say, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. There are people that are making hundreds of millions of dollars. And I know the refrain will always be, well, why does it matter how much I make? It, you know, it's their decisions and so on. That's, I'm not arguing one way or another, really. What I'm saying is maybe there are people that can help other people out. I do. Other people do. But I'm not the one that has millions of dollars. So in this case, it's tax, social. We are offsetting some costs. But to get this money, to get benefits, it's sometimes a real struggle. And this article is going to go into all of that. One of the biggest barriers to government benefits is all of the red tape to untangle, particularly for programs that serve low-income people. They were the ones wrangling with the IRS's non-filer portal while others got their payments automatically. Benefits delivered through the tax code, which flow so easily that many people don't think of them as government benefits at all, mostly help the already well off. And there is strata. Everybody talks about the 1% and then the 99%, but that's not really how it is. There is strata in that 99%, and a lot of them at the bottom of that 99% are basically seen as invisible. I know exactly what I said. They're seen as invisible. The people, the middle class has a lot of influence on solving this problem, but even the middle class is being largely marginalized. Inflation is high. We're going to get impacted by it. And I say we because I'm part of the middle class. I am not one of the 1%ers that have millions of dollars sitting in the bank account. Costs for items are going up. Costs for services are going up. Things are constrained that allow people to benefit from technology. You can't get computers without it astronomically expensive. You have to drive. Gas is going up. This is really tough. It's going to be a really tough period of time. I don't know how long it'll last, but we shall see. There's a lot of discussion about why we have inflation. But I'm going to have to move on. This next article is in the Word and Tech. Windows 11 Pro will soon require a Microsoft account, according to this. Microsoft says it's planning to update Windows 11 Pro so that it will require an internet connection and a Microsoft account during the initial setup phase. If you didn't know it when you set up Windows 10, you didn't actually have to have a Windows account. But with this new iteration, you may very well. I'm going to click this link so that we can go over to Tom Warren wrote this article for The Verge. And it says the changes will mirror the same requirements Microsoft originally added to Windows 11 Home last year. I haven't moved to Windows 11. I'm still holding off. Meaning you won't be able to avoid Microsoft accounts by creating a local user account during setup. Microsoft has been increasingly pushing Windows users to use a Microsoft account since Windows 10, and this new change to Windows 11 Pro won't sit well with many hoping to avoid Microsoft's data and telemetry gathering in Windows. Just so you know, the only one that actually avoids all of this is the enterprise education level of Microsoft Windows. That said, you can do a lot of modifications to Windows to kill that telemetry gathering. They could code into it something that really gatekeeps so that you can't stop the telemetry. But there was a report out that said that there are somewhere around 500 telemetry points that are provided back to Microsoft. And if you are in, if you're into not being tracked, that is a ton of data that's being exfiltrated from your system. And while they, being the gatherers, say, well, there's nothing really there. Well, if there's nothing really there, then why are you gathering it? Why aren't you just letting me do what I want to do with my system? Because connecting to you doesn't necessarily mean that I need you. I don't need to be connected to you. I just need the operating system so I can run my software and do what I want to do. I don't need to be connected to somebody else. But this is another thing where if people aren't aware of it, don't speak out against it, the ability to do it gets deployed, and it's harder to claw it away than it is to stop it in its tracks. So if you're not interested in being tracked, it may become too late. So this next article is in the Band to Bezel channel. And yes, I have a show that I want to do about watches, smartwatches, and the culture and technology involved therein. I'm very interested in that. It's tied to time and time travel, and I'm really into science fiction, time and time travel concepts. They kind of bleed over into the real world. So I love everything having to do with it. This here is introducing Christian Vanderklaw unveils the cosmic real moon. I'm not sure what that word here is. Azure green meteorite. So I'm going to click this. And I knew going into this that it was going to be hard to say. So this is what this watch looks like. A cosmic fusion of the most accurate 3D moon phase mechanism in the world with a green meteorite dial. And this is written by Rebecca Dalton. Okay, well, that's a pretty watch. It's not wildly mechanical in nature, right? So I'm going to describe this for those in the podcast who aren't watching it on YouTube or on Twitch as a VOD. Basically, it has a green face, and the arms they look like they're antique silver, and that back, the what do you call it? The dial, sorry, that's what it's called. The dial itself, behind the arms, is a green meteorite, and you can actually see the striations of basically the crystal that forms that meteorite. It looks really nice. Renowned for his miniaturization of astronomical complications and entered the annals of horological history with his creation of the smallest mechanical planetarium in the world. Wow. That is quite the feat there. So go over to monochrome-watches.com. The article is written by Rebecca Dalton. I can scroll through this. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it basically has a 3D moon phase in the bottom center of the watch face. And as the clock turns, that actually rotates in place, and it's a sphere. It looks like it's a sphere that's just kind of rotating there, showing the moon phase. A jade green colored meteorite on the dial reveals the classic Widmanstätten patterns, interlocking crystal structure of nickel iron alloys of iron meteorites. That's pretty neat. So I'm going to scroll down. If you're watching this, I'm really sorry. Sometimes it throws people off. On the back of the watch, it is actually open, kind of like a skeleton watch. You can see the gearworks, the train of gears and the balance. And if you're sitting down listening to this in the podcast form, or you're watching this, if you didn't look already, it's an $80,000 watch, somewhere between 40 and 80,000, depending on the band, I suppose. The steel model retails for 40,000 euro. Let's go on to the next article. It is another band to bezel article. And this is the hands-on, the affordable Horon Ocean Hunter Leviathan is a surprising take on the dive watch. And the article's little snippet is, there are countless new watches launched throughout each year from well-established brands and newcomers looking to have their slice of the pie. So I'm going to click this link. And it's written by Robin Noy. I think it's Noy and not Nui, but correct me if I'm wrong. If you find this, Robin, let me know. And so this is a dive watch. Basically, it allows you to track how much time underwater you have been. And you want to use a dive watch to fall back from a dive computer so that you actually know exactly mechanically how much time you've been underwater, because a dive computer could always fail. You want a second, a more non-electronic version of it working in your favor. And you want to avoid too much gas in your blood, and then you end up having to do stops as you go up to the surface so that you don't get the bends. But this is actually kind of, to me, it's blue and black. There might be other versions of it. I'm going to scroll down and see if there's another version of it. But this, if the claim to fame is that it's an affordable, approachable dive watch, it's kind of, normal looking. It doesn't look like it's wildly expensive. So looking at it, it has a glow in the dark kind of feature. I wonder if what does it use for that? I can't see. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but it will glow for a period of time. Super Luminova insert. Interesting. Oh, it has other versions of it. Gold and blue, black and gray. Looks neat. More and more watches. Obviously, this may have happened before I was getting more into watches, but the backs of watches seem to always have the skeletonized back so that you can see the train of gears and the balance and jewels. That said, let's scroll down to the bottom of this and see how much it costs. Hey, at 600, well, it starts at 500 and goes up to 800. And that is a reasonable price for a dive watch that is of high quality. So that looks like it was a Kickstarter campaign to begin with. I'm going to scroll up real fast. I'm really sorry if you're watching, but let's keep going so that I can stay on track. This next article is in the Distillerist channel, which is about adult beverages. I'll call it that. Spirits. Patron creates Margarita Museum pop-up. And this got me interested simply because I actually just got another bottle of Patron. And the Bacardi-owned brand will host a one-off experience in homage to the tequila-based cocktail on International Margarita Day next Tuesday, which is February 22nd. So you've got 4 days from now. This will probably not make it to YouTube or the podcast in time to be relevant at all. But if you're watching the VOD within the next 4 days, or you're sitting in chat right now, welcome to the party. I'm going to throw this right here in chat so that you can go over to ohmTown and follow that visit the source link. Here you go. This article is written by Nicola Carruthers. Tequila brand Patron will celebrate International Margarita Day with a pop-up museum in London exploring the history behind the serve. Hey, and look, that's the bottle I've got. I've also got other bottles, much, much bigger than that for mixed drinks, but you can actually just sip silver Patron. It's actually pretty good. And of course, shots and things like that. No, this is not a kid-friendly, or I should say, it isn't limited to being kid-friendly. I do talk about all kinds of things. So if you're in the area, apparently it's going to be $20 per person. Maybe they'll have some free samples. You can get that $20 back. Okay, and this is an article over at thespiritsbusiness.com by Nicola Carruthers. Patron creates Margarita Museum pop-up. The next article is Google plans privacy change that could once again kick Facebook's business model. And Facebook's business model is down. It kind of got put in the machine, and took a huge hit, $250 million or something like that, from what I understand. Quite a loss. I'm not sure if it's recovered, but this article here is sourced by PC Gamer, and I'm going to click the link. It says Google is set to make changes to its Android operating system that aims to cut back on the amount of tracking it allows. It's that kind of tracking that allows big tech companies to gather information about consumers and in turn target you ruthlessly with advertisements for things it believes you want to buy. Let's click this link. This article is written by Chris Sedgwick. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. And this is kind of a trend that is continuing. I think that companies are finally realizing that they are in control of the customers that they acquire. And so for another company to be able to leverage the other company's hardware and software and acquire customers, it basically capitalizes on the other company's goodwill and lowers the acquisition costs of a customer. So if you're in business, customer acquisition costs basically are a loss. So if you don't recover that, then you're losing money right out of the get-go. So for instance, I've worked with a company where let's say, I'll have to be nebulous about it so that nobody can ever align anything with anybody. But let's say that customer acquisition costs are $30. And I go in as a consultant and I figure out how to lower it to $5. I've made it so effective for the business that they can spend more on marketing or add it better value in services because they can spend more on something else to make their business better, right? So you basically use that money to be tactical or long-term strategic with your money. Well, if another company is using your business to gather customers, they're not paying the true customer acquisition costs. They are leveraging you and your hard work. And so Apple stopped it in its tracks. It also benefited the customer in terms of keeping their information private. Google's doing the same thing. And Google has a massive footprint. So everything having to do with all of this tracking, which consumers have been decrying since the beginning of Beacon, and tracking cookies, suddenly it's a thing and it makes business sense. Let's see how this plays out. This next article is Don't Panic, but Deepmind has trained an AI to control nuclear fusion. So what do you think of that? I am a big proponent of artificial intelligence and machine learning. I see the benefit of it. I also see that there are people, organizations, people that will use it and abuse it. I really don't like decrying, well, the government is doing this, or the police are doing this, or this organization is doing this, because it isn't them, as if it's a disembodied alien controlling the machinations here. Okay. It's people, it's your neighbors, it's your friends, it's other human beings that are utilizing this technology to leverage it against other people. And so this isn't something where you can say, well, shut down the government, shut down the police. That's not how it works. We have to find a way to leverage this technology to make life better, not use it as abuse or control. You have another element to this in that there are people that will use what I'm saying as a means to abuse. But that's another thing altogether. So in this instance, it says clean energy is set to play a huge part in the direction of future tech. Companies are finally pushing sustainability, be it via repairable laptops or sneakers with cute snakes on them. That's a link that you'll have to follow in and of itself. But I'm not going to follow that link. But when it comes to the power that sustains the use of basically all the tech you'll ever come into contact with, we need to be thinking a bit bigger. Nuclear fusion, despite the scary sounding moniker, has the potential to be an excellent source of clean power in the future, and we're one step closer to being able to easily control it. So I'm going to click this link. It'll take us over to PC Gamer, another big source of headlines for me. I value their writing. Let me correct that. Hope Corrigan wrote this article for PC Gamer. It says a great source of clean energy gets a bit easier to control. So they kind of conflate this into one statement, but it has issues. A great source of clean energy gets a bit easier to control. Well, nuclear power is not absolutely clean. There's a lot of inefficiency in there, and there is waste. There are technologies that are reducing the waste, but a nuclear power plant is essentially a steam engine with extraordinary heat. And that heat is generated by a nuclear reaction. That's where the inefficiency is as well. So we need to continue to invest a lot of money into researching nuclear fusion and, nuclear power in general, all forms of it. There's certain types of plasma. There's fusion and fission and solar and geothermal, and we need to continue to research all of these and find the real solution, because spending the amount of money needed to spin up a power plant, a nuclear power plant, only for it to be basically a steam engine, is astonishing. And I know that there are researchers that are going to find a way to turn this into almost a one-on-one. It would be great to be a 1-to-1 ratio between the electrical output capabilities of nuclear power and the capture and distribution of that power. But right now it's offset because we have to convert basically heat energy into steam, essentially steam, turning a turbine, which generates electricity and sends it on its way. I'm simplifying it, obviously. But this article here is over on PC Gamer. So go and check it out. And just know that AI is going to be able to control nuclear fusion. And the less that it's involved with humans, the less error there is bound to be, except that artificial intelligence and machine learning is programmed by human beings initially. Some AI and ML stuff actually have taught themselves languages. Yes, they actually can learn for themselves. And so they talk about the latest and greatest form, which is tokamak nuclear plant. Physicists use a device called a tokamak to contain and control these reactions. So go over and read this article, and you won't regret it. Great website, by the way. PC Gamer. Very diverse list of articles. This next article is in the continuity report, which yet again was mentioned by How Did This Get Made podcast. Not my continuity report, just the concept of the continuity report, which is basically a document that tracks where everything is on a set so that when a shot is set up, there isn't any continuity errors, like suddenly the person is wearing a green jacket instead of a blue jacket. So this article is What Happened to Tarantino's Star Trek Film? Every detail about his canceled pitch. So Paramount confirmed this week that WandaVision director Matt Shakman will head into production on a new Star Trek movie later this year with Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, and so on, reprising their roles for a fourth go-around on the big screen. I'm going to click this link because I'm really curious. What happened to Tarantino? Tarantino fans were sent into a frenzy in late 2017 after it was announced that Paramount and Star Trek producer J.J. Abrams, loved Tarantino's pitch for the new Star Trek movie and were assembling a writer's room to flesh out the idea. Tarantino ultimately partnered with The Revenant screenwriter Mark L. Smith, who was tasked with writing a Star Trek film script based on Tarantino's idea while he was finishing up Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So let's see. Does it say? I'm going to scroll real fast and see if I can find out what it was. A final blow arrived in January 2020 when Tarantino confirmed, I think they might make that movie, but I just don't think I'm going to direct it. It's a good idea. They should definitely do it, and I'll be happy to come in and give them some notes on the first rough cut. Well, there you go. Seems rather amicable. I don't think Tarantino's really hurting for business. What do you think? I don't know. Maybe Tarantino's version would be extremely gritty. For some reason, I really like the idea of a Tarantino Star Trek. Although it might kind of fly counter to the historical context of Star Trek, which was all about making deals and discovering new things and not necessarily just blowing it all up. So this next article is in the Marble Show and our channel, and learning in the lab can continue at a distance. As most of the world came to a halt at the onset of COVID-19, researchers were trying to find a way to engage students through research at a distance. University of Georgia professor of biochemistry and molecular biology, Erin Dolan, and her research team carried out a study to appraise the remote programs that grew from this challenge. So let's click this link. It takes us over to phys.org. Katie Cowart from University of Georgia wrote this article. The study that they are talking about evaluated 23 programs at colleges, universities, and research institutions across the country. Most of these programs were 8 to 10 week internships. So let's see. We wanted to get a sense of how the programs work so that we could make recommendations as the programs were ongoing. What worked and didn't? While students felt the programs did a good job of fostering connection, students felt they missed out on the informal interactions that happened during in-person programs. This is something that I tell people all the time. College has a multitude of functions. One of the most powerful, particularly in Ivy League and AAA schools, is the networking component of it. So much business is formed, so many partnerships are formed within the academic circle, so that when people leave or while they are engaged in their academics, they're actually spinning up enterprise. And that network and connection lasts a lifetime from the college on. It is spectacular how many connections you can make when you are kind of stuck in a college. And if you have the same socioeconomic status or other beliefs or ideologies or whatever, it binds you together. And sometimes doing great things. So us being distance, I understand that it's really tough to learn in a distance environment, but not everybody wants or needs or cares to be enclosed in a classroom for hours out of the day, or have to drive all the way over to the school and then to work and so on and so forth. I think that a cultural shift needs to be made, that we can still exist as a society and not necessarily be sitting down cheek to cheek in a classroom. But again, that's my take. What's yours? Let me know. Next article is over in the Mobile channel. Think the solar canopy is powering EV fast chargers? Think again. So recently, I guess this is a Reddit or a formed article, and a user on r/electric vehicles, which is a subreddit, posted photos of an Electrify America fast charging station with a roof over the chargers made of solar panels called a solar canopy. The comments were overwhelmingly enthusiastic, wondering why all EV chargers don't have solar canopies that both shield vehicles from the elements and provide electricity to power the chargers. A true win-win, right? Well, let's see here. Does it say anything? If we don't rapidly educate electric vehicle owners on how much energy fast chargers use, yeah, there's no way that unless the solar canopy was massive, it's not charging an EV. It may offset some of the carbon footprint for having it in place by feeding energy back into the grid. But their fast chargers are sucking so much energy out of the grid that a normal, like my house, would not be able to fast charge an EV like a supercharger does. In fact, I had it priced out, and they wanted the city basically wanted me to pay something like $60,000. It wasn't the city, but it was engineers who wanted me to pay $60,000 to put a concrete pad out there that was 8 feet by 8 feet, and all of the equipment that had to go in it just to put a fast charger in my house. Obviously, it was a thought experiment, not a reality, because I'm not going to do that. But let's click this link. There might be pictures in it, but again, that's not going to be fast charging anything. This article is by Aaron Gordon over on vice.com. I'm sure that there's more context to this. Let's see if it says, most DCFCs these days can charge at speeds of either 150 kilowatts or 350 kilowatts. Under standard use, a bank of 4 chargers requires as much power as that needed to power 100 to 230 homes, respectively. In other words, just 4 of these chargers have the energy demand of an entire housing subdivision. Yeah. Compare that to a typical solar panel, which only generates 320 watts under ideal conditions. This thing is a feel good, but it offsets some of the carbon footprint. So if it doesn't use any power from the grid to even do its lights, then I think it's a win, as long as it's reasonably priced and not outrageously expensive. So let's go on to the next article. It's in the Stock Marketeers channel, and it says Cannabis Watch. New York is one step away from allowing farmers to grow marijuana plants. Both houses in the state legislature approve a bill to grant temporary permission to farmers to grow cannabis, and New York gears up its cannabis license push. So I'm going to click link, and we're going to take you over there. And it's a MarketWatch article. New York is one step away from allowing farmers to grow marijuana plants. It's written by Steve Gelsey. And it says a measure to allow license industrial. Wow, that's a weird sentence. Anyway, they're going to license industrial hemp growers in the state to cultivate and process adult use cannabis this year. now awaits a signature from the New York Governor Kathy Hochul after passing both chambers in the state legislature. And frankly, anything that legalizes marijuana makes it something that's taxable, makes something that legally generates revenue. Unfortunately, the federal side of it doesn't allow for cannabis sales using cash being deposited into bank accounts, as far as I know. Again, if somebody knows different, then let me know. But my understanding is that because it's still federally illegal, any deposits can't be insured in federally insured banks, and pretty much all of them are. There might be some that aren't, but they're higher risk. If somebody robs them, they're out. It's an insurance thing at that point, not federal insurance, but private insurance. Again, as far as I know. And so it says the bill would create a viable and inclusive path for social and economic equity partners interested in cannabis cultivation and processing. By the way, the hemp that is available as well, hemp and marijuana, was banned because it was competitive. It was a weed that anybody can grow anywhere. And so it was made illegal. And it was a side effect because the drug had deleterious effects. It was just something that somebody could grab onto and say, well, people are getting stoned, and so let's make it illegal. Well, caffeine, alcohol, nicotine all have deleterious effects. Anybody who's ever smoked a cigarette knows the effects. But it was more natural. It didn't need anything. I mean, when you smoke a cigarette, you're actually inhaling tar. Not something that's codenamed tar. It actually is tar. It is an oil byproduct stuck in cigarettes so that it can slow the burn rate of cigarettes. It isn't all natural tobacco. If you want all natural tobacco, you're going to have to go and find a source that cuts it clean and doesn't put anything that slows the burn rate. It has to be all natural. And you might as well end up with marijuana. Plus, with people that are smoking marijuana, they're not getting in their cars and driving, 120 miles an hour down the road. They think they are, but they're driving 5. Anyway. So I think that this is a good thing. I think that it should be taxed. I think that sales should be monitored. I think that maybe we could eliminate the whole illegal aspects of it. Allow people that have these mamby-pamby drug charges for selling things to adults. It should have been treated like alcohol from the beginning. But here we are. The next article is The Word in Tech. That's the channel it's in. Employers should nurture friendship and support amongst coworkers to unlock creativity, new research shows. So there's some debate in business about this because there's a lot of, there's an ideological bent to some management styles in that conflict spurs creativity. Conflict. I'm not necessarily aligned with either way in business. I think that the need for a solution is what unlocks creativity, and getting people firing the bottom 10% or causing turmoil or everybody coming in and singing songs and hugs and bubbles. None of that really does anything. But there is research that has shown every single thing that I just said, that yes, it can help. But if all of it helps, then all of it exists. It is the natural progression in society. We all have times of struggle. We all have times where everything is great. We all have times where somebody's going to get fired because there is some economic negative that will bring down the business if a CEO doesn't fire 10%. New investment sometimes requires the amount of HR that's in the enterprise to be reduced so that there is a proper balance in the economics and the runway is accounted for. So really all of the research has shown at different stages all of these things about unlocking creativity and performance. So let's see what the rest of this article says. This is an article over on phys.org, University of Bath. Employers should nurture friendship and support amongst coworkers to unlock creativity, new research shows. A new study from the University of Bath School of Management reveals care from a coworker inspires people to be supportive to their partner at home, showing that coworkers have a significant role to play in enabling couples to cope with balancing the demands of work and family life. The spiral of support that has to be in the research study itself has knock-on benefits for creative thinking at work. Well, yeah, I would probably suggest that if you're miserable at work and you bring it home, then you're miserable at home and you bring that misery back to work, it's going to be a downward spiral. So the result that both members of a couple benefit, spouses pass on support received from coworkers, and partners will be more creative at work in what is termed a gain spiral. So it pays for employers to recognize the value of caring coworkers. Yeah, that can actually get carried away. Because unless everybody keeps everybody in check, everybody just hanging out and being supportive doesn't get the job done. So it really depends on the management style of the people that are running the enterprise. But I get it. I see the benefit of it. I would love to have a constantly happy work life, and have it spiral gain my positive home life. I think that's just fine. The next article is in the Marble Show, or channel, how NASA plans to destroy the ISS, the International Space Station, and the dangers involved. NASA's announced that it's going to decommission the ISS and pull it out of orbit sometime around 2031. And supposedly it's going to get dropped in the ocean somewhere. We're going to click this link. And after dozens of launches since 1998, got the station up and into orbit. Bringing it down will be a feat of its own. The risks are serious if things go wrong. Well, yeah, let's hope that it doesn't drop into some... there's something in my eye. I'm so sorry. But it's supposed to be dropped into a location called Point Nemo, also known as the spacecraft graveyard, the furthest point from all civilization. Well, let's see. Originally commissioned for a 15-year lifespan, the ISS is outliving all expectations. It has already been in operation for 21 years, and NASA has given the go-ahead for one more decade, thereby doubling its potential total planned time in orbit, which is phenomenal. We did that with the rover as well, running around on Mars. We underestimated its capabilities, which is fine, I suppose. But if our creations have longer legs, then we need to budget it properly, and maximize that use. So I hope that all of our projects stay as long lasting, and we don't start building things more obsolescent, planned around obsolescence. So now you know. If you didn't know already, now you know that the International Space Station is going to be deorbited back into Earth. I hope that we get all of our ducks in a row and we send something back out. The next article is in Stock Marketeers, The Margin, Move Over Netflix, Move Over Everything 200,000 people are watching planes land at Heathrow amid crazy winds. My understanding of this is that people started watching this because everybody is still like a shut-in. We're all trapped inside. This article is by Barbara Kohlmeier. Did I say who the other one was from? So the NASA one about ISS was written by Heather Muir of The Conversation. Apologies, Heather, for not giving you your name at the time of the article. The one over here about Netflix and everybody watching at Heathrow is written by Barbara, my goodness, what a day. Barbara Kohlmeier. Planespotter Jerry Dyer is the hero of Heathrow on Friday. People are watching planes leave in high winds. And it's all the rage. And it's on his YouTube channel. Jerry Dyer from Big Jet TV became a minor celebrity Friday as he live streamed jets trying to land at London's Heathrow Airport. Frankly, I'm surprised that somebody is being let loose with a camera to film planes landing, but I guess it happens all the time anyway. So it says, wow, 185,000 people watching. Are you sure? He yells out at one point over at times deafening gusts, pointing out that the norm is to have about 6,000 people and that it crossed 200,000 on Friday. Wow. Yeah, some of these plane landings are pretty wild because the gusts of wind can actually blow the entire plane off the runway, off the center of the runway, and they do these wingtip landings where it almost touches the runway. It just kind of freaks me out when I watch it. I do not want to be on any of those planes. If I didn't have high blood pressure, I'd have high blood pressure. Oops. Let me continue on to the next article. We are about 80% through with the day, maybe 90% through with the show. This next article is in the continuity report as well. BBC renews MasterChef through 2028. Production moves out of London to Birmingham. The BBC is handing one of its juggernaut shows a multi-season renewal and moving production outside of London. For the first time since 2001, the cooking competition series MasterChef, produced by Banijay UK-owned Shine TV, has been renewed for 6 more seasons and is moving from London to Birmingham. So I'm going to click this link. It's written by Manori Ravindran. Pardon me. It's a UK show. And I'm going to promote somebody else's show while I talk about this, because there is a really easy to consume, fun show on YouTube called Sorted. If you've never seen it, just do a search for Sorted on YouTube and you will enjoy the show. All of the people that are involved in it are fun to watch. Humorous. If there is any adult content, it's so subtle that nobody would pick it up. Subtle innuendo maybe. But it is a blast and it's easy to consume. It isn't 2-hour-long shows or hour-long shows. It's just small bits. And they apparently have a really good app that I don't use. I don't know if it applies over in the US, but I know that it's a UK shop as well. So anyway, MasterChef is fun to watch as well. So, but getting something renewed for 6 seasons, I don't know how often that happens, but I think it's amazing. That's a ton of security in a job. So who knows what will happen between now and 6 years from now. The show will mark its 18th season this year. How much cooking can you do? Let's see. The relocation is part of BBC's 6-year across the UK strategy, which was first announced in March 2021 and committed almost $1 billion to expanding key services outside of London and further afield in the UK. Yeah, because London's really concentrated in its commercial aspects. So let's continue on. This next article is in the Order of the Bean channel. Meet Circles Coffee, the ready-to-brew coffee plus filter combo. I'm going to click that link there and you can see it. The packaging design for Circles Coffee. That's all that this is, really. It's just a product that is offered. And so all you do is just plop this on your coffee cup and pour some water in it. And there you go. It's pretty easy, right? Circles Coffee is based in San Francisco Bay Area. Officially launched their first SKU, Sun Cycle Blend, at the end of 2021, September, through Kickstarter. If you've never been to Kickstarter, it had a really bright time to shine many years ago. And now it seems to be kind of steady state, but I have funded probably about 30 or so projects on Kickstarter, not my products, or projects. I've, pledged to other people. And I'm interested in launching a couple of projects through Kickstarter. I just haven't done it yet. But strategically, tactically, it is a great solution. It ramps up marketing. It ramps up revenue. It shows some expectation of your marketing reach and your technical chops, in that if people believe in what you're doing and they see it in the embodiment of your video and your writing, you will get a following, and you'll have ready-made customers sitting there waiting for you to supply it. So, and there's the boxes for it. Pretty simple design. Circles Coffee. It looks like a it looks like a donut with a bit taken out of it, but it's the C for Circles Coffee. Single serve, pour over, coffee with a filter. So it's pretty neat. Go and check it out. Product designed by Jin Fujiwara. He tried to blend a fun feeling to our innovative single serve filter. Let's see. I didn't see the pricing on it. Yeah, I didn't see the pricing on it. So this was written by Sprudge staff at sprudge.com. So I'm not sure who all was involved in it. Go and check it out. The next article is in Stock Marketeers Need to Know. Among the biggest mistakes investors are making right now, thinking U.S. stocks are the safer bet, says GMO. Our call of the day rattles off some dangerous trends by investors, such as believing that a U.S. stock bias reduces risk. And I hate to break it to anybody that thinks that. It does not. You can have a complete market collapse here in the United States. It's happened before. It'll happen again. The article here is written by Barbara Colmayer over at MarketWatch. Critical information for the U.S. trading day. They reference a bunch of stocks in each of their articles. I can't really go into it, but it says diplomacy over war optimism, where the Russia-Ukraine conflict is concerned, was lifting the mood, but headed into a 4-day weekend for the U.S. Those gains could be slippery. Well, nobody really knows what's going on with Ukraine. There's always issues currently with Ukraine and Russia, with China. We've got all kinds of discussions going on in Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran. We've got interest rates going up. We have inflation going up. We have jobs that aren't getting effective cost of living increases. The middle class and lower is getting no raises. And the C-suite is increasing in value. There's mergers and acquisitions that are combining to the point where there's no competition. You got duopolies. And when that happens, the customer always loses. If not immediately, then in the short to middle period, costs increase, jobs are lost, there's optimizations. everybody says, well, they'll find another job. Well, that's not how it works. It's not as easy as that. You have to have jobs. You have to have pay adequate to support a person and a family and so on. So I'm going to pull away from that soapbox. This next article is over on Ban to Bezel. I was curious about this, and so I wanted to see it with you here in Twitch chat, and then you can watch it over on YouTube if you find it there. But it says point counterpoint. Integrated bracelet means design, not do it yourself, I guess. So what exactly do we mean when we say that a watch has an integrated bracelet, or that it is an integrated bracelet watch? As is so often the case, the watch enthusiast community uses the word in both a very specific and somewhat vague way. Integrated has several meanings. Let's see what it looks like. So over on Hodinkee, the article is written by Jack Forster. They had a previous one about integrated bracelet, and this is a follow-up of it. And I'm really curious. Let's see. The first more general use is simply a situation where a bracelet has been designed to be an integral part of the overall design of a watch. That is, it reflects and to some degree constitutes a continuation and further expression of the design of the case. Interesting. The second narrower use integrates the first, but with additional proviso that the bracelet cannot, at least not without special tools, be dislodged from the case, which will with mute stubbornness resist any attempt on the part of the enthusiast to swap it out for a NATO, generally thanks to idiosyncratic shape of the lugs. Oh, so you can't remove that top piece like that. All right. Yeah, I mean, that's simple design. And you can make stuff look pretty interchangeable if you have the ability to swap it out. I think I got a beat on that understanding, right? I'd argue that the bracelet of the Odysseus is certainly integrated in terms of design. The 5 links across design is continued right up to where the bracelet fits between the lugs. That right there. And then it integrates right into there. And right there. Interesting. Okay. I guess if it's seamlessly integrated, then that's what it is, an integrated bracelet. The only odd thing about it really is if it's all integrated, then it's harder to swap out with anything other than the integrated form of the band. You'd have to find something complementary. But there you have it. See how it rolls right up to the bezel? Okay. Well, anyway, that is actually the last article that I'm going to cover today. But I'm going to make an ask of you if you are following this here in chat. There is the last 24 hours of, it's actually now, I think, less than 17 hours of this Kickstarter called Above Snakes. And it's a survival based building game that has roguelite aspects to it. And I think it's a great idea. I think it has the ability to actually have long legs. There is more to this, but I'm not sure if the developers see what I see, because this just looks so fun to expand into multiplayer, but it's only a single player game right now. But you basically place these tiles down, high resolution tiles. They're squares and isometric, and you walk around on them as a player, and you have to get resources and build your base and make decisions. And let me scoot over here a little bit more. And so they've gone all the way down to here, and they're about to get to the console ports. But I want more tiles. And so I'm trying to get more people to pay attention to this. But my network is small, and yeah, I'm not really pushing too hard. I'm not really much of a salesperson, so to speak. But I'm certainly interested in you as a viewer here, going over and checking out this Kickstarter Above Snakes. And I'm going to link it here in chat. And then you can go over and take a look at it and see if we can hit that 60,000. So I only need a few viewers to go and spend $1,000, right? To get this to 60,000 euro. I think that's what I must scroll really fast. I'm really sorry. Yeah. To get more tile mechanics, you're going to have to get to 60,000 or 68,400 US dollars. 60,000 euro is the limit for the more tiles. But that's it for today. And I want to thank you all for coming. I'm Mayor Watt, the mayor of ohmTown. That's that site right there. Not that site, doggone it. Let me go back to where I belong. It's this site right here, where every time you click on the ohmTown name, it'll refresh and give you a new set of news. Hundreds of thousands of headlines aggregated so that we can have conversations and I can draw attention to the news all around the world. And thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it. See you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern.